Hey folks, this is another Cinema 4D tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about Nurbs modeling, and that stands for non-uniform rational biased splines. It's a mathematical way of computing special shapes. Here's the menu right here. You can hold this down. You can find a variety of these different type of modeling tools. What I'm going to cover today is the lathe and the extrude. I like the lathe a lot for cylindrical objects that are symmetrical. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to bring in the lathe tool, and it's just going to be, nothing will show up. I'm going to click on multiple viewports, and I'm going to go to the front view. What the lathe is going to do is take a spline that you draw using the pen tool, and it's going to spin it around and make a form from it. So I'm just going to grab this. Now my preference for drawing is using the linear tool, and then converting it back to Bezier curves so I can make adjustments. So what I'm going to do here is just do a quick drawing. Let's make sort of a column-like form, something like this. That looks good. So notice I started my drawing at the y-axis, the green arrow. I moved outside of that. I drew half of an object, a cylindrical form, and I went back to the y-axis again. Now what I'm going to do here is just convert this from linear now to Bezier. And that allows me now to make manipulations how I like. So I can go to each point, for example, I can zoom in here, and I can move this point. I can change the curve. I can manipulate it in many different ways to get the form how I want it to look. So this is a really handy tool to go and convert your form once you've drawn it. So once you have the form how you like it, you can go and drop this simply into the lathe Nurbs. So click on the spline that you've just drawn, drop it into the lathe, and then we can check it out in the perspective view. So here you can see we have this sort of Greek-like column, which is really great. Now, there's a lot of things I can do to manipulate this while it's still in this lathe form. So if I go back to my menu, if I go back to the front view, I could, for example, use the selection tool. I'm just going to use this tool right here, selection, live selection. I'm going to grab some of these points right here, and I'm just going to take these and stretch it out, make it taller. So you can do this manipulation while it's still in this form before you convert it to anything else. I can also scale it this way to make it a little bit narrower because columns tend to taper, right? So those adjustments make it really easy for me to generate something really complex with a few clicks of this form. Now, if I was going to use this and I can just leave it as is, I might want to double click this and just call it today. And just call it column, and then it's ready to go. All right, let's make something else. So one thing that's great about this is you can always hide your objects. So when you have an object selected, you can click these little dots, and the little dots are going to make it, oh, I have this, sorry. I have my recording device on. If I click that little dot, it goes away, which is not gone, it's just hidden from us. So let's talk about another type of modeling using Nurbs. This is called extrude. We put this in here. We could draw a shape as we had before. In this case, you know, I might draw from the top view instead. So for example, if I take this, begin to draw some sort of curves, right? I can create a shape, connect the end, and then take this spline and put it in the extrude. There we go. Okay, now you notice that looks a little funny. We do that because it's extruding along the wrong axis. So we click on extrude, notice the movement. The first one is X, second one is Y, and the third one is Z. Don't really want it to move along the Z axis. I'm going to hit 0 here. And along the Y, I'm just going to hit 25. And now I've extruded a shape. So that's cool. Other things you can do with extrude, if you use any of these prefab shapes, you can go ahead and do that. So if I wanted to create a flower, let's say, I could do that, grab another extrude, pop the flower in there, and there you go. So a combination of these things together might create some sort of sculpture. Why not? Just gonna move this over. And with any of these things, you have different forms that you can manipulate it. So with flower, for example, the inner radius, the outer radius, I can change the form of that. I can also change the amount of petals, less petals, more petals. Let's do less. And then finally, if you go from any of these sort of things, it'll change it very subtly, but if you don't want any of these curves, you can just hit none, and then you'll get more like an X. I'm just gonna use this X, kind of like that. Let's just take this, put it on top of our form here, move it a little bit. There we go. Now we've created a sculpture. So let's put these together. I've got a strange extrude shape. Also, I wanted to talk about this too. So you have caps. Caps are kind of fun. You can create different forms with the caps. The caps are the top, not the side here, but the top of the object. So with this cap, I can create what's called a fillet cap. And if I do that, well, it's actually the bottom. Let's do the other one. Here we go. You have different types of fillets that you can do. So you can first of all change the amount of steps. That's not going to do much for us for this. You can change the distance as well, the radius, bigger radius. And then you can have these different forms. So we have convex, which is what it's doing. Concave, which would be, you see it better if we have more curves. There we go. More steps equals more curves. If you zoom into this, see how it has that little curve there. Half circle, kind of makes a bubbled edge on it. One step gives you a little step. 2 steps, another step, and then engraved, which gives you that sort of engravement there. I don't mind engraved. I'm going to keep that. The X needs something too. Why not? Let's do some fillet caps here as well. And I think I do like the engraved on that as well. And for this extrude, we are going to go a little bit further. There we go. All right. Got this sculpture. We're going to put it on top of the column. Let's bring that back. There we go. So we can take both of these. Oh, look at that. Take one at a time. Take this one. We'll take this one. All right, and now we've got some sort of bizarre sculpture going on here. Ready to 3D print. Well, not quite ready. But anyway, ready for virtual modeling. So there we have it. We have lathe, we have extrude to make other types of forms using non-uniform rational B-splines. All right, that's it for now. Try some Nurbs, extrude, lathe. I'll see you soon.